It's the weekly trans news show, brought to you by Atheist T-Girl. Tonight's presentator is Alanis Garcia. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the weekly trans news show, where we cover the news that trans people should know. Tonight's topics are Chick-fil-A box up their promise, who's watching trans children play, we have a Whopper of a conspiracy, which legislator had a wonderful December, and the first trans American murder of the year. Thank you, Kat. That's enough. Our lead story involves Chick-fil-A. Years ago, it was reported that Chick-fil-A was giving money to anti-LGBTQIA groups. Chick-fil-A denied this before ultimately stating that yes, they were, but they would no longer be doing so. Surprising no one at all recently, the organization that grew using cow-painted billboards has announced that despite the denial and promise to not do so, they would indeed possibly do so again in the future. They have promised that in 2020, they would no longer donate to the Salvation Army or the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which were two of the groups it had been reported they had been donating to before. However, when the current president and coup, Tim Tassopoulos, was interviewed by Vice and asked if they would donate to organizations that oppose LGBTQ rights in the future, he replied, "No organization will be excluded from future consideration, faith-based or non-faith-based." Chick-fil-A has not been shy in its issues with the LGBTQIA community. In 2012, the now current CEO, but then coup, Chief Operating Officer of Chick-fil-A, Dan Cathy, stated, "I think we're inviting God's judgment on our nation when we shake our fist at him and say, 'We know better than you as to what constitutes a marriage,'" he said. "I pray God's mercy on all our generation that has such a prudent, prideful, arrogant attitude to think that we have the audacity to define what marriage is about." These comments came after a report was released that stated that the foundation funded by the chain made donations and to organizations that practice conversion therapy. They have also been in the news recently for asking Texas to pass a non-discrimination bill for them after they were denied for being able to sell at a San Antonio airport because of their discrimination. Yes, to clarify, they asked that their discrimination be protected from discrimination. But all is currently going well for the organization. In October, their first UK location closed after being open for only 8 days. The reason for closing was the pressure put on them by many protests carried out on behalf of LGBTQ rights. There is no information as to whether the cows are now using the empty building as a sanctuary from the local butcher. Moving on. Similarity in transgender and cisgender children's gender development was an article written for the December issue of Proceedings of the National Academy of Science of the United States of America, PNAS, or PNAS for abbreviation. The article was based on a study of 317 trans children and over 500 cis children. The findings show that when as a child, those who identify as opposite of their assigned birth sex will often play with the toys they are associated with their gender they self-define as. Or as a lot of trans people say, no duh. The article is not a conclusive study, and there needs to be more studies in the area and questions answered about stereotypes and how much they affect people before any true conclusions can be drawn. But it is at this moment another brick in a steadily growing wall of scientific proof that trans people are not just making things up. Trans kids are showing strong identities and preferences they are different from their assigned sex, said Selena Gomez, the study's lead author. There is almost no difference between these trans children and cisgender kids of the same gender identity, both in how and the extent to which they identify with their gender or express their gender. Some right-wing and turf news sites, such as Independent Centennial, have argued that reporting on the report is dangerous and wrong. Most have turned the article into a straw man that if a boy plays with dolls, it means he is a trans girl. However, evaluation of the abstract and of the article and quotes from it show that the point of the study was not to state that cis kids who play with toys generally associated with another sex are trans, but that trans kids who know they are trans do tend to play with them. This study, along with others, laid the groundwork for a steadily growing consensus that the more accepting a family is, the less turmoil and serious mental health issues trans kids will face as they mature. And as a side note, there is no one trans narrative, and the study is not an indication that if you did not play with dolls as a kid, you are not a trans woman, or that if you didn't find G.I. Joe awesome in a totally hetero way, you are not a trans man. Our next story. Oops, sorry. Move over QAnon. Today we have a brand new rumor from the right-wing conspiracists to chew on. As reported in LGBTQNation.com, or easily found with a Twitter search, there are people accusing the new Impossible Whopper of turning men into women. Trans women everywhere listen to the rest of the story before going out to Burger King. Please, hold on. The Impossible Whopper is being sold at Burger King as a meat-based alternative for vegetarians and debatably vegan consumers. But a recent article written by Jamie Stengel, sorry if I mispronounced it, veterinarian and author for the Tri-State Livestock News, has pointed out the extremely high levels of soy inside the burger. If I didn't know better, I would wonder if a news publication dedicated to livestock news might have a reason to attack non-livestock-based food. While it's true the burger does contain phytoestrogens in high numbers, it should be pointed out that the plant-based estrogen and it is not processed in this body as the same way as estrogen, or as trans women call it, titty skittles. I told you I'd get phytoestrogens pronounced correctly. A search on Twitter, if you can get past all the trans memes of it working for the T-girls, will show that some people are taking this as truth, such as Alpha Omega Energy. Dudes, do you want to grow breast? East, their spelling, the hashtag Impossible Whopper. It is enough estrogen to make you grow those trans-looking tits you always wanted. Uh-oh, boy, it sucks that you can't short private companies, isn't it? Flush. You can hear the value toilet flushing. Hashtag frogs gay. And far be it that a beta cuck as I would disagree with Alpha Energy here, but so far it has not worked. Leonard Roxon at Leonard Roxon, sure, let's turn our boys into girls fast. What a great agenda. Social engineering is not enough apparently these days, so let's do it with a food that we can eat. Well, Leonard, may it work fast indeed. Moving over to politics. Representative Breanna Tone was the first openly trans person to be elected in the Colorado Legislator, and she had an eventful month. Running a campaign of fixing the road situation in her district, Breanna has not been content to just sit on her laurels once she was done with this. On December 31st, the governor of Colorado signed into a law that was co-sponsored by Breanna to help protect patients for surprise medical bills. From now on, healthcare facilities and providers will have to be clear about what charges may or may be out of the network, and if there are caps on what out-of-network doctors can charge at in-network hospitals. In addition, an arbitration process was set up to handle disputes. This would be a great month for any legislator, but Breanna has also found time to get married to her fiancée Alicia in the month of December. We here at the Trans News Network wish her a wonderful wedding and are looking forward to watching for the news you two will make. And finally, on a more somber side, this year is 7 days old, and we already had reports of the first American trans murder. Dustin Parker, 25, was found shot to death on New Year's Day. Parker is survived by a wife and 4 children. He was a founding member of the McAllister chapter of Oklahomans for Equality. The good news for now is there is no evidence that his death was a result of his trans status. Dustin was a cab driver and it looks like he was shot for that. That's correct. At the moment, the good news for trans people in America is that the latest trans murder was not an act of transphobia, but just one more case of senseless gun violence. Please see the description below for a Facebook fundraiser for his family if you'd like to donate. And that is the trans news for this week. My name is Alanis Garcia. This channel is Atheist Tea Girl. I hope you like it. Please be sure to comment. If you see things you'd like me to report, be sure to let me know. You can get me on Twitter at atheist_T_girl, or you can email me at whitehatm, WHITEHATM @gmail.com. I'm hoping to do this once a week and bring out news, whether it's something that was reported in the news or something that people might want others to know about trans. And I wish y'all all to have a great day.